When State of Decay 3 was first announced in 2020 during the Xbox Game Showcase, the reveal was brief but powerful. A cinematic CGI teaser that promised a darker, more ambitious take on Undead Labs' open-world zombie survival series. As one of the earliest Xbox Series X.S exclusives ever revealed, the game was meant to show off Microsoft's next-gen vision. Yet more than 5 years later, the title still hasn't launched, and its development has been shadowed by prolonged silence, internal studio struggles, and shifting goals that have left fans increasingly anxious. From the beginning, Xbox Game Studios leadership spoke of State of Decay 3 as a major step forward. Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, emphasized the team's push to compete visually with the biggest titles in the industry. Animation technology became a core focus, with the goal of creating far more immersive interactions between players and their environments, something the previous entries never fully achieved. Undead Labs also promised an expansive, truly shared open world, deeper cooperative play, and a greater emphasis on permadeath, with design assistance from fellow Xbox developer Obsidian Entertainment. The concept was ambitious, and for fans of State of Decay 1 and 2, both known for their janky charm, it represented a leap into much more polished and complex territory. But delivering that vision proved harder than expected. When work began on State of Decay 3, Undead Labs was still a relatively small team of around 60 employees. Following its acquisition by Microsoft, the studio grew significantly, but expansion brought organizational challenges. By 2022, development hit a major snag. A Kotaku investigation reported a toxic workplace culture at Undead Labs, including allegations of sexism and mismanagement. The article revealed that the game was still stuck in pre-production at the time, well behind schedule for a project that had been announced 2 years earlier. High staff turnover became a major problem as key developers left the project and new hires struggled to integrate. According to various insider reports, State of Decay 3 suffered multiple internal delays as the team reworked systems, restructured leadership, and adapted to a shifting industry landscape. One possible reason for extended development time surfaced in 2024 when the gaming site MP First discovered resumes from Undead Labs employees listing PS5 alongside Xbox and PC as target platforms. If accurate, this would mark a major shift for the franchise, traditionally an Xbox/PC exclusive into a multi-platform launch strategy. Developing for PS5 in parallel could have significantly increased production complexity, pushing back the projected release date. At the same time, it would align with Microsoft's growing willingness to put first-party games on rival consoles. In early 2025, the situation became even more uncertain as Microsoft implemented significant layoffs across Xbox Game Studios, with entire projects like Everwild and Perfect Dark being canceled. Layoffs reportedly hit Undead Labs as well, although the scale of the cuts remains unclear. Despite these developments, journalist Jez Corden of Windows Central reported that State of Decay 3 is still considered, quote, safe within Xbox's portfolio. However, he acknowledged that predicting the game's ultimate fate is difficult, given the unpredictable climate. Kotaku's Ethan Gack added that meetings and layoffs at Undead Labs were, quote, rolling, end quote, and ongoing, suggesting an unstable environment that could still impact progress. Fans expected the game to reappear at the Xbox Games Showcase 2025, especially after a report claimed it was closer to being finished than you'd think. Instead, it was absent. Adding to the mystery, Undead Labs had posted a cryptic tease just days before the showcase, possibly hinting at a reveal that never materialized. Some speculate that the studio may be preparing for a shadow drop or a reveal at another event, like the Xbox Developer Direct in January 2026. Rumors of a 2026 launch persist, but with no official confirmation, the timeline remains uncertain. At its core, State of Decay 3 promises a more polished, more immersive, and more socially connected version of the survival formula that made the series a cult hit. The decision to possibly launch on PS5 alongside Xbox and PC could bring in a much larger player base, critical for a game that leans heavily on cooperative play. Yet, the game's development history, marked by cultural issues, leadership turnover, shifting scope, and a lack of consistent public updates, has left fans cautious. With Microsoft's broader restructuring and the cancellation of other high-profile projects, State of Decay 3 stands at a crossroads. It's still alive, but its long journey from announcement to release has been anything but smooth. If Undead Labs can navigate the final stretch, it could turn this troubled production into one of Xbox's most notable comeback stories. But until players finally get their hands on it, State of Decay 3 remains one of gaming's most anticipated and most uncertain future releases.